You can't park here.
What?
I said you can't park here.
This is my driveway.
Permit holders only.
And that is totally my car that I can afford.
Oh, Atlin, I'm off for a pint of miles.
The hell was that about? It's almost like it was a really awkward intro written by a scriptwriter who's had about an hour's sleep.
Trespassers will be sat on.
Ah yes, Chubby Gristle, ZX Spectrum Classic. And hopefully not supposedly owned by an IP troll, or that intro just got me into a lot of trouble. It's been a while since I've checked out a ZX Spectrum game because it's taken me this long to stop having an anxiety attack every time I hear the name. But this game is one that could make a decent video, so here we are. Back when I started this channel, the ZX Spectrum used to be one of my favourite computers. Look at how pressy it is. It's so pressy you can hardly manage. I used to have one with a built-in tape deck. That was pretty snazzy, but I had to swap it with my brother because I covered it in fake blood for a video. This one doesn't have fake blood on it. Not fake blood. Also, sadly, very recently, the creator of the Spectrum, Sir Clive Sinclair, passed away. What better way to honour his memory than to review an utterly bobbins game on this thing? Ah, Sir Clive Sinclair, I hope you're riding that C5 all around heaven. Like an absolute mentalist. Now this darling of the early 80s had a lot of games for it because it was so simple for hobbyists at the time to code up a game and send it to a publisher. A lot of the ZX Spectrum games that hit the market were made by literal children, who were basically given about a tenner for a game and presumably bragging rights. I wonder if any of the teens that made games got laid as a result of it. Hey baby, I coded Squidge on the ZX Spectrum. Where are you going? Hey, come please. Chubby Gristle, however, was developed by an actual video game company, although admittedly the founders of which were sickeningly young. Must have been pretty sweet to be in your early 20s in the mid-80s. Imagine being able to just walk into a bank and get a mortgage and start a company too, and not having a lender tell you that you can't afford a £500 a month mortgage because you're paying £700 a month to a landlord to keep an actual roof over your head while doing a 9-to-5 that makes you want to kill yourself, but you want to have some money behind you before you can even think about starting a family. So you're getting older and you're single and finally can afford to get a marriage, but you're 45 and the person you were hoping to marry has f***ed off to another country long ago, and also you're barren. Not that I'm speaking from experience or anything. Anyway, these guys were founded in 1987, and by the time the company finally went out of business in 2001, it had a lot of games on its books, albeit mostly ports rather than being their original titles. Chubby Gristle was one of the company's first games, and it was released in 1988. This game was also released for Amiga home computers, the Amstrad CPC, Commodore 64, and the Atari ST. I'm going to focus on the ZX Spectrum version for no reason other than it is probably the worst version. And as I believe I've said before, I hate myself. Our main character here is on the cover art, and it is admittedly a horrendous visage. My lad here is doing the exact same thing I do when I've put on weight. Insist on not buying clothes that fit me because damn it, I'm gonna slim down at some point. In the meantime, everyone in Sainsbury's better cover their eyes when my gut spills out all over the avocados. The title is spelled in bacon and sausages and egg, which I appreciate is meant to be gross, but even as a vegetarian, I'm now kind of hungry. Ah, good old fat shaming. The lowest type of comedy. Mind you, like I said, the guys that actually made this game would have been in their late teens, early 20s at the time, but that was more than 30 years ago. I'm guessing that those fellas aren't making so many fat-phobic jokes now that their metabolism has gone to fuck. Now, obviously, parking wardens aren't exactly the most beloved of enforcement officers. I mean, I once got a ticket because I was a little bit late coming back from an invasive medical procedure. What shit was that about, dickheads? It really does seem like these people, they couldn't give a shit. And Chubby here has minus shits to give. I mean, look at him. He's got so few shits to give, he's probably ticketing people who have them. But if there's one thing that's enjoyable, it's being a total dickhead, right? And even though you might actively try not to be a dickhead in real life, a game where you can be a car park attendant could be the catharsis you need by being a total desk to absolutely everyone else around you. I want to play a game where I ruin people's day by slapping a fine on their windscreen after they slipped into a pharmacy for just a second, or waiting by a parking meter and watching the owner of the car sprint down a crowded high street as the precious final few seconds run out on it. Well, I'm ready to be an utter bastard. Let's play Chubby Gristle. On this space over here where I'm pretending is the monitor, on a ZX Spectrum which has not been plugged in. Here he is. He's kind of cute, isn't he? Like, not at all like the guy on the artwork. He's got a big blobby nose and a beer belly. He's also, despite obviously not having much muscle mass, able to push an entire car across the screen. And pull it too. Maybe there is a bunch of muscle underneath all that fat. But here we come to the first odd thing. This is like one of the very few cars you will see in the entire game. You know, a game about a parking warden. You would be forgiven for thinking that maybe, just maybe, a game about a parking warden might involve whacking out parking tickets to people who were just, you know, popping into the newsagents to pick up their ailing wife's medicine, or drivers who have wandered onto the yellow lines while having a heart attack at the wheel. But Chubby Gristle has so little to do with the joys of being an utter pillock that it's honestly upsetting. Game-wise, what you have is basically a Manic Miner homage, but with a fat dude. Which isn't necessarily a bad tagline, but I really did have my heart set on being an utter pillock in this game. I wanted to see a struggling single dad crying while his car is towed. I wanted to see a teen who's just passed her test get slapped with a ticket that costs her entire weekly income. I wanted to be a bastard, but Chubby Gristle isn't really a bastard. He's just a bloke jumping around a multi-storey car park and getting killed by pretty much everything he sees. And I mean everything, not just, you know, car park themed things. I actually can't even tell what half of this is supposed to be. Look at this mental woman just going back and forth in a rage! Maybe someone dented her BMW. It wasn't me. Or might have been. Or maybe she just can't find the pay point to pay for her stay ticket. That's absolutely standard in these multi-storey car parks, to be honest. Last time I parked in a Cambridge multi-storey, I swear to God I needed a divining rod to find the sodding pay point. I mean, this game is what I think it might be like if you took acid at a park and ride. Not that I would know what that's like. So the point of the game is, like Manic Miner and other games like it, to collect various flashing things on each screen. The more you collect, the higher this meter goes on the bottom right. You need to have it all the way to the top to finish the game. It's unclear exactly why Chubby Gristle is going out of his way to make himself weigh a ton. Maybe he's got a fetish? But if that's the case, it's honestly damn impressive how sprightly he is. I mean, I put on a couple of stone during the coronavirus lockdown, and I get knackered just jogging up the stairs. Meanwhile, this guy is lugging his massive belly up and down ladders, walking against the flow of rivers, jumping across gaps, pushing cars. It's like Jason Statham meets My 600 Pound Life. Now, I know that multi-storey car parks aren't exactly the nicest places to be, but this one is just insane. There's a friggin' vulture or something flapping about on this level. Can someone deal with that, please? The last thing I need when paying for my long stay is to be mauled by a beak. Oh God. No, Sir Clive, don't look. Don't look. Oh my God, there's an actual crocodile in a river at the bottom of this screen. I mean, there really are some grim multi-storey car parks out there, but I don't think I've ever seen one where the lower level is flooded and there are literal crocodiles angrily swimming up and down between the cars. Although I could believe it if this car park is in Liverpool. Now, this is a platforming game, so you'd be forgiven for expecting that there might be little to no fall damage. But of course, this was back in the early days of gaming, and I think gamers back then could put up with a hell of a lot more bullshit than they can now. So yeah, there's fall damage in Chubby Gristle, which takes the utter piss Chubby falls directly downwards when walking off a platform, and that will kill him if it's more than, I don't know, a 4-foot drop? Pathetic. You do need to jump across platforms and not rely on dropping down to them because of that. Game physics in the 80s. Although the developers did make an effort to apply some physics to Chubby's big bouncing belly. Look at that! I feel like I'm playing Dead or Alive. Look, this is Bobbins. So this looks like some kind of hanging algae, right? So I'm just going to jump past it. Nope, it kills me. And yet, look at this little frond, or whatever. Walk right past that. This is such a common thing in ZX Spectrum platformers. It's anyone's guess which part of the scenery kills you, because the graphics are so limited it's hard to tell at first glance. What really annoys me is that this was released in 1988, which was, you know, still in the early days of gaming, but it was a good few years after these kind of games appeared on the Spectrum, and the same year that these kind of games were released. So for God's sake, don't have my guy killed by hanging algae. I mean, that's page 1. I'm getting my fat arse handed to me. Oh, f*** off. That thing killed me. I didn't even see it. Absolute joke. Look at this crocodile swimming around in lava. What an absolute mad lad. You'd think maybe the council would do something about crocodile-infested lava in a car park, wouldn't you? I mean, unless this is in the north of England. No one gives a crap there. I have no idea how to get to that flashy thing. Not a clue. Alright, so I need to get past this vulture thing. So I'm going to try and outrun it to that first ladder there. Okay. Okay. No, okay. Maybe I can jump over it? No, I can't. Maybe I can get under it. No. Ooh, I know. Sometimes when you get off a ladder next to a platform at the right height, Chubby walks into the platform rather than on it. So I'm going to do that in the previous screen. Should be able to get that flappy git now. What? Oh, come on! I suck at these games. Is he still out there?
You can't park here.
Get away from my car, dickhead! I don't suppose I need to say this, but yes, the music is quite annoying and repeats again and again. But I've specifically kept it on in the background this entire time because I've had these 12 or so bars repeated in my brain for the last 2 weeks, and I want to share the torture with you. It's not a BDSM thing, I'm just a bastard. Well, that's the game, really. Jump about, collect things, go from screen to screen. It's very simple, but it's not aged well, at all. It's awkward to play, and after the first couple of screens where you see a car, the theme of the parking warden just goes completely out the window. I read that the character was based on an actual car park attendant known to the development company, but there's nothing about this guy's character we can glean from anything other than the cover art, where he's, you know, an overweight parking warden. And I guess we all have our unfounded biases on that front. When you finally complete the game, Chubby goes into his house with his wife and they pump out a load of children. This is a game about a parking warden, right? Well, that's nice, isn't it? I mean, having like 200 children is ecological warfare, and also it's a vagina, not a clown car. But who am I to judge? I'll probably be dead before the Great Climate Wars of 2050, so it's not really my problem. Wow, not to sound shallow, but Chubby Gristle can get someone to bear his crotch goblins, and I can't even get a text back. Wow, that did sound very shallow. The Atari ST and the Amiga versions really pushed the theme of Chubby Gristle being overweight with these little borders on either side, which is kind of cute. But again, it does make you wonder why bother making this game about a dude that gives out parking tickets? Why not just a lad who likes the cake? Maybe it's because not everyone hates overweight people, but everyone hates parking wardens. Even parking wardens hate parking wardens. If you absolutely have to play Chubby Gristle, I would say that this Amiga version is the one to play. Listen to how squishy that music sounds. But what you really want to play this version for is that Chubby now has a voice. My god, this lad is so aggressively Yorkshire. He sounds like me after I've had a few pints. Yes, I become more Yorkshire when I'm drunk. Literally every person from Yorkshire does that. We only put on the posh accent so you lot can understand us. His death noise.
He sounds like he just smacked his toe on the banister.
Not much more to say about the game really. It got mixed reviews at the time, and of course it was released years after the considerably better classic Manic Miner. If you want to know more about Manic Miner, you can always check out my video of it, which totally only gets the amount of clicks it does because it's good content and not because my cleavage is in the thumbnail. It's pretty good cleavage though. Right, is he still out there? Oh no, no. What the shit, Chubby Gristle? You can't clamp my car.
You can't park here. I'm waiting for tow truck.
You can't tow my car for being parked in its own driveway.
Ah, but look at your front tyre.
Oh, bobbins. Thought I hit something on the way back from Sainsbury's.
The dead lad doesn't have a permit.
You can't give me a ticket for accidentally mowing over a pedestrian and wrapping his mangled corpse around the front wheel. I think.
You've parked your front tyre up pavement by a couple of centimetres. That's obstruction of a public road and you're getting a ticket.
Oh, come on. I can just reverse it a little bit. It's no biggie.
You'll need to get in touch with the office to get your car back.
Oh, wow. Great. Yeah. You are an absolute bobbins turtleneck.
I'm off back home to my wife now.
Oh, yeah? Well, your wife too. I bet she's an absolute banana face.
Ta-ra.
With all of the hair and everything. Oh, he's gone. Well, suppose I better bury a body in the backyard. Again.
I'm getting loads of sex from my wife.